everybody, and welcome into Blue Jays Today, folks, where today we got to talk about Bowden Francis. Bow down to Bowden. Hittable and not special? Excuse me. Bowden Francis is actually, this is not, bullshit. This is actually real. He is making history right now. He is doing something that no one in the history of baseball, or at least since they've been tracking this, has done. It is phenomenal what we are witnessing from Bowden Francis right now. He's being that guy that everybody hoped he could be in spring training. We got to break down how that's happening and what it means for the rotation moving forward. On top of that, everybody, got to look ahead at the upcoming series. Got to talk about the past series. Got to talk about some of the other guys on with the sticks who are doing it. Because, even now, Bowden Francis kind of have the limelight, the spotlight right now. Let's not forget that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is pretty damn good at baseball as well. So he needs a little bit of love. Lots of stuff to talk about here, folks. I'm your host, Nicholas Playalog.
I'm your host, Adam Peddle. And before we continue this podcast, I did want to give a big acknowledgement to Johnny Gaudreau, who passed away last night. And his brother, Matthew, who passed away on his way to his sister's wedding. Honestly, woke up to that. Very tragic news. Everybody in sports is acknowledging this right now, so I feel like we wouldn't be doing our part if we didn't acknowledge the Gaudreau family and send our condolences out to them. Everybody in the chat's talking about it, so everybody, thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, 100%. It's still, I think that right now the suspicion is that the person who was driving the vehicle, I forget their name, was under the influence of alcohol. I don't know if that's confirmed at this point. Obviously, that is just fucking the worst. And it's stuff like this that just reminds everybody, do not drink and drive. And if there is anything in your system at all, call an Uber, call a taxi, do anything. Do your part to be responsible, because Johnny Hockey, you saw it on Twitter. You've seen so many stories, man. He inspired a bunch of youth, was a phenomenal player for so many years. I think I had him on my fantasy hockey team at one point in time. So obviously, all the thoughts, all the prayers go out to his family and his loved ones and everything like that. Let's move on and talk about Bowden Francis, folks. Literally was doing it almost again, flirting with the no-hitter for a period of time in yesterday's game. Did eventually give up a hit, but that was it. Just one. 70 pitches, 7 innings, scoreless ball, gets taken out because the guy was feeling a little tired. We all had, we're screaming at the top of our lungs, John Schneider, you fucking idiot, what are you doing? Apparently he was a little fatigued to begin the game.
Right.
That was the whole thing right there. Would have been nice to see him go the whole way, maybe get the complete game shutty. Didn't happen, but still, he is on a heater.
Yes, he is. And I'm going to have a video talking about this in some more detail tomorrow, breaking down how exactly he's doing it. But effectively, everybody, it's funny, I hate to say it because he's doing so phenomenal. It's almost very simple. He's attacking the strike zone. And they said it in the post-game show. He's attacking the zone. He's getting ahead of hitters 0-1, 0-2. And then when you're 0-2, you have the opportunity to throw basically any pitch you want in that moment. If you've been setting up fastball up and in, go ahead. And if the swings look like he's not reading it right, go ahead and go up and in with another fastball or throw one out of the zone low and away. You can set up any way you want if you're getting ahead of batters. And he's doing it this time around with a lot more confidence. Earlier in this season, we saw him get beat up a lot. I was looking at some heat maps of some games that he was previously pitching in when he got beat up by the Yankees, by the Astros. They were all over the place. He really didn't have too much command, falling behind counts. When you fall behind counts, sitters sit in the middle of the plate. What you want to do is create pitchers or make batters uncomfortable so that your stuff can be more effective. And he's figured it out. And what's crazy in the last 4 starts, just how good he's been. He has a 4-0 record with an ERA of 0.62 and as well 3 walks, 32 strikeouts, whip of 0.31, opponent batting average of 0.65. There's some pretty incredible numbers out there, Nick, of just how good he's been doing.
Yeah, it is truly insane right now. We got to give a little credit here to Opta Stats and also that whip in general, folks. They tweeted out earlier, I think it was today or last night, something like that. But Bowden Francis of the Blue Jays has a whip of 0.31 over his last 4 starts. That is the lowest whip by any MLB pitcher over any 4-start span in the modern era. Minimum 20 innings pitched right there. Any 4-start span, any pitcher, you name them, Verlander, Cole, Scherzer, any of them over a 4-start span, nobody has had a lower whip than Bowden Francis has right now at 0.31. 3-1. Like, I don't know if there is an adjective or a word in the English language that just
astonishing,
depicts,
phenomenal.
Like it really, it truly
the
is
unthinkable. Like it's
something.
like
It's special. It's just special right now. So Bowden Francis has absolutely turned over a new leaf. And I know it's like, you say it's simple, right? And the strategy.
The strategy is very
and again,
simple.
the strategy, I think, for many pitchers is kind of the same. It's right. Well, you want to get ahead in the count, and then you can throw your other off-speed breaking stuff and get them to go fishing and everything like that. And you are in control. But it really is the command for me that is. Just miraculously changed, right? Because you walk into every start and you're thinking, all right, I want to throw majority strikes and I want to get ahead and everything like that. And at the beginning of the season, he was just incapable of doing so. And now it's like we're firing it in wherever we want it to at will.
Well, yeah, because like if you look at the heat map of what he did last night, it's all kind of like it's all in the center of that strike zone. But like Bowden said last Saturday, he's letting his shit eat, right? Like, you know what I mean? What he means by that is he's letting it play in the zone, right? As long as you change velocities and hit your general location, you don't have to be fine, perfect on the edge, because that's what he was doing earlier in the season. He was clearly earlier in the season trying to be fine on the edges, because you look at the heat maps again, all those fine pitches he's aiming up in the corner, well, he's missing that way arm side.
Yeah.
You just aim at the general upper part of the zone, you might miss just at the top of the zone. Or even if you miss middle, well, as long as you set up that good fastball, you're going to get a swing and a miss. And you saw that a ton last night. Same thing with the breaking stuff, down and in or down and away. As long as you aim for the zone and let it eat, it should be effective, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah, well, clearly keep letting it eat, man, because when you have a whip that low, the runs that are coming around, they're few and far between, everybody. I mean, lowest whip in four starts out of anybody. He's also got the lowest ERA in baseball in the month of August, everybody. That's at a 1.05, which is significantly better than the next guy right there, Hunter Brown of the Houston Astros. So this is your pitcher of the month.
Yeah,
if he's not the pitcher of the month, we fucking riot. It's as simple as that. It really is. All of the numbers are going towards you being the pitcher of the month.
What else can you really see that you'd be like, no, actually, I don't like this guy. I don't like that he leads the, all the pitchers in WAR. I don't like actually he's second in WAR here. I see Chris Sales down there, but that's in the NL. But in the AL, he leads all the pitchers in WAR and ERA and WHIP. There's nothing else to talk about. Bowden Francis, come next Monday. They're going to announce it. He's going to be AL pitcher.
He needs to be, man. So this is just such a overwhelmingly positive stretch of baseball for Bowden Francis, and it does start to beg the question and open that door up as to, well, what is our rotation going to look like next year? Because I can promise you guys right now, if he finishes like this, or even like half of this, you know what I mean? Like, because this is just so overwhelmingly incredible. If he finishes just at somewhat of this pace, congratulations, Bowden Francis. You are starting next year. There's no way that we keep you out of the rotation with the way that you're playing baseball right now. We would take a freaking idiot to do that. So he will be in it if he continues with this. You obviously got Bassett. You obviously got Kevin Gaudreau. This is assuming, by the way, that none of these guys get traded, right? We can't predict the future, sadly, but assuming that none of them get traded. And then you also have Jose Barrios. So that's 4 guys right there, at least starting off the season, we would project is what it's going to look like. The big question is that number 5 spot. And you got a couple guys that are maybe in the mix here. You got your Alek Manoah, who we were looking up just before this podcast. They're projecting he will be available in 2025. It doesn't specify exactly when or at what capacity he will be, but 2025. You also have Yariel Rodriguez, who we signed this offseason, who is, had some ups and downs, which we're going to get into.
We'll get into that.
And then you also got, well, maybe somebody like a Jake Bloss or somebody down there.
Right.
And that's also not even factoring in the potential of a free agent. Where are you at right now with that 5th spot in the rotation for next year?
I mean, look, it's up for the taking. I mean, it's an audition season. If you go sign a free agent, first of all, depending on the quality of that free agent, then the job's there, and everybody else is going to the pen. Because when I'm looking at Yariel Rodriguez coming into the season, we were hoping maybe we could see him develop into that starting role at the end of the season, and then he'll be locked in for next year. That's not the case. Actually, it's Bowden Francis taking over that kind of job. He's the one who's won it. Whoever wants it can go get it. And personally, I think Yariel Rodriguez's stuff plays better out of the pen. The reason why he's so up and down is because Well, he's got a track record of being a guy that comes out of the bullpen and gives you a short amount of innings. Once you start getting into those longer outings, then you start getting into those areas where he makes a little bit more mistakes. If you give him 1 or 2 innings out of the pen, make him like a long relief guy, maybe he could be a little bit more effective after the batters have already seen a different starting pitcher. So that's where I'm kind of at with the whole Yariel Rodriguez thing. I think ideally I'd like him to play in the pen. So with that being said, if we don't get a free agent and Yariel Rodriguez is still kind of doing his thing, then yes, you got Alek Manoah and then you got a Jake Bloss. It's audition season. Jake, if you want it, 3rd overall prospect, you got to go prove it in spring training. Alek, we know what you've done in the past. You had a good start to this year, then you got injured. So if you want to go get it, now's the season. It's audition season for me, but preferably that's too much risk. If I want to go into a 2025 season competing, I want to go out and get a free agent just in case, and then those guys can act as depth in case there's injuries.
Yeah, I'm looking right now at Yariel Rodriguez. I forget where you have like the 3rd time through the lineup and everything like that, but you know, you get a good indication right here when he's in the pitching range. So from his 51st pitch to his 75 pitch, which would be right around that 3rd time through the lineup.
Right around,
you know, you see the batting average of the opponents increase to a 310. And the OPS is at 862. And then when he gets over that, when he gets into that 76 pitch range, that OPS skyrockets to 975. Whereas the first time, you know, the first 2 times through the order right here, so from his pitch 1 to pitch 50, he's actually very effective. He's doing pretty good. So it's kind of when he gets into that 5th inning. Let's see, there is an immense amount of weight to that. When he gets into the 5th or 6th inning, past that is when he completely falls apart. So you could be onto something there in just thinking that, you know, Yariel Rodriguez could be more of a pen guy, or at the very least, you know, one of those Ross Stripling-esque, you know, when we need you to start, you can give us 4 innings,
which isn't bad.
Fine, you know?
Which isn't bad. Honestly, if Yariel Rodriguez is in the bullpen, I think that shows a lot of positive signs for this Blue Jays team. That means you have enough starting pitchers available, quality ones at that, to go and pitch. If Yariel Rodriguez is in the pen, that's luxury. And that's, I think, where the Blue Jays got to aim to be to make everybody more effective.
Yeah. I mean, I really do miss the days when we had that Ross Stripling type. And he was just such a Swiss Army knife. You know, well, somebody's, you know, like we're a little banged up, going to miss a start or 2. Ross Stripling, you're in. You know, this guy gets blown up and it's the 2nd inning. Thank you, Ross Stripling. Like, he could do everything.
On that point of, like, you know, someone gets injured, maybe he's, like, missing a start or 2, like, go fill in, Yariel, then you don't really have to make a large roster move if you want to keep that one starting pitcher on your roster. You don't want to have them hit the IL. You don't have to make a large roster move and start calling up Espinos and all that.
Sure.
Just bring in a Yariel Rodriguez for a start.
Yeah, no. I definitely, I like that, and I agree with you. I'm looking at his Baseball Savant page right now. His off-speed, pitches is actually really good. However, that's also the pitch that he throws the least amount. So take that as you will. The fastball and also the breaking ball definitely does get beat up quite regularly from Yariel Rodriguez. And right now, everybody, he's got a win-loss record. I know that win-loss record doesn't mean a whole lot, keeping in mind that we are a team also below 500, but a win-loss record of 1-6 right there.
Well, so I think it goes to show that he can't even get to the 5th inning that often to record a win.
That is also
whereas
true.
You can go 3 innings and record a loss. So I think that also plays into that a little bit.
That is also very true right there. So I do tend to agree with you that probably Yariel Rodriguez, at least at this point, you know, there could still be a lot of development. We have him for time. We have him for time, and this is the first year in MLB, so we got to give benefit of the doubt. But for right now, anyways, where I'm at, he would be better out of the pen. That being said, though, it could still begs the question, who is going to be the guy? I'm personally not sold on an Alek Manoah because, again, we're going to be, this year was complete bust, you know, just completely injured. And it just says, you know, he's expected in 2025. I don't know if that means that, you know, it's opening day, he's ready to go 100%, or if we're going to need to start him in the minors for a little bit and get some time there. So I don't know if I'm set there. If it was an internal thing for me, like if it was completely internally, we're not going to go out, we're not going to get a free agent pitcher, which I do actually believe should be
should be number one.
Number one.
Based on what we're talking about here.
I do think that would be your ultimate goal right there. I keep saying Jack Flaherty. That to me feels like a guy who would be really solid. Doesn't even need to be somebody of that caliber, though. I'm not familiar with some of the middling kind of pitchers, but I'm sure there's a couple out there that would be fine. However, if it's not going to be that and it's going to be an internal solution, I do think I agree with Sophie in here when it comes to a Jake Bloss. Like, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, for me, I got to see Jake Bloss because all I've seen in the big league level is kind of not effectiveness, right? I need to see, especially with the September call-up, if he does get called up, 6-man rotation, gets 4, maybe 5 starts in the month of September and does good, then I might start to come around it. Because right now, Jake Bloss is, honestly, you could argue, as big as a question mark as Alec Manoah. I don't know what I'm going to get from him right now. So that's where I do tend to lean in the free agent. But yeah, if I had to choose between those two, it's whoever wants to show up. You know, I can't tell. I can't pick one. I can't favor one because I need what would make them more my favorite is if I can actually see them do something for me. And no one's really done anything for me. I guess you could argue Alex done good until he got injured, but then Jake Bloss has a prospect upside. Who knows, right?
I think that Jake Bloss, I think that we're kind of on the same page here. Jake Bloss needs to be a September call-up.
He needs to be. Because we need to see it.
You know, think about the level of hype that we had with Bowden Francis,
right?
When this preseason and this spring training, everything went, and we were okay with him at least slotting into the rotation to start.
Right.
He only had 36 innings to his name last year. But because we saw those 36 innings and there was a little bit of promise, we were like, all right, fuck it, like let's ride. You know, maybe this could work out. Obviously, it took a little while, but now the numbers are coming around.
Right.
I kind of feel the same way about a Jake Bloss. I want to see you get 3 to 4 starts in September. It doesn't need to be crazy. We don't need to blow your arm out or anything. But just come up, you know, get a couple outs. I'm sure it'll be a little rocky, but if you can show a little bit of promise, command the strike zone a little bit, that's just going to instill me with that much more confidence where if we do miss out on a Jack Flaherty or we do miss out on a, you name it, I'm not sure who it would be, but if you miss out on somebody, all right, we got this top prospect. He's very exciting, number 3 in our system. Bring him up. Let's see what he can do. Yeah,
I think it's going to be one of those things we're going to have to address as well. We'll figure it out more if we go get any free agents in this offseason, but we'll have to address it later down the line. I do see JK in here saying this team needs a big bat first, and I think where would you kind of stand on that right now? Looking at where we are as a team, do you think we get a big bat first? Forget bullpen, because I think we all agree. Bullpen, we need to go grab that regardless. Big bat or starting pitcher? If you had to grab one or the other, where are you kind of leaning?
That's actually really tough. You know, it's like if it was between like getting one starting pitcher and one bat, like I'm pretty split, man. I'm pretty split because
the numbers have kind of flopped a little bit.
I really don't know what I'm gonna get out of anybody. You know, a lot of, other than Guerrero. You know, it's like, I don't know what I'm gonna get out of these guys. Like, I feel like it's a really tough one for me. I might lean, honestly, pitcher because other than Jake Bloss, like there's actually not a lot amount of depth at all.
There's no depth, yeah.
But then again, like,
whereas like in the offensive side of things, you do have a bit of depth, but then again, they're young guys. We have no idea. Even though they're doing good right now, let's not forget ourselves. Loperfido, Barger are doing really good right now, and the OPS over 800 in the last 15 days.
Yeah.
But can I trust that for a full 162?
Probably not, right? You know, and it's like, again, like we can only live with Dalton Varsho, and I know he's doing good, but we can only live with Dalton Varsho batting 2 for so long, right? So maybe it's just the recency bias playing into that for me, where it's like the offense has been cooking kind of recently, and Guerrero's just been so overwhelmingly good that it's like you can almost just count on that guy to carry your team or put up at least 1 run every single day, which is just ridiculous, everybody. But you know, I think the true answer, because we're so split, is you need both. You know, you probably need both.
Yeah, no, you can't be choosing one or the other. If you're Ross Atkins, you got to be getting both. And the sad reality is, I mean, this is a whole other conversation, but can we even get both? Like, what does our budget look like for the season? Because, like, we could get both if they were both mediocre to, like, less than average. Sure, we can get both. But we need impact bats, because I'd rather just rock with the boys we have right now, who at their floor could be mediocre to average. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would we go pay for a mediocre to average bat?
No, of course. I mean, it's kind of the same conversation that we had this past offseason, where, like, there's really no point at all in going out and acquiring another Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Like, you know, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the 3-odd months that we had with the guy. He definitely exceeded expectations. But if you're going to take away playing time from other young prospects, like Orelvis Martinez, for instance, well, where would Orelvis Martinez come up and play? Probably the third base bag. You know, if he did, you're looking at everything. Well, the only real guy that I'd be interested in putting there to take away playing time would be somebody like an Alex Bregman. And then it's like, all right, I can justify this. Alex Bregman is a very quality player. We know exactly what we're going to get from him. We can now take away the playing time for Orelvis Martinez because this guy is just so above and beyond. But, you know, going out and getting an IKF or a Justin Turner or something like that, and then, you know, keeping some of those top guys down, that doesn't really make sense to me. No, you know, like you have to have the upside of the guy that you're bringing in to be very, very good, like a Bregman or Santander, for instance. If it's that quality of player, fucking phenomenal, but it can't be anything less than
exactly. And also, if you go bring that guy in, let's say you do bring in Alex Bregman, just playing some dreamland right here, then you actually have the opportunity if you did want to trade, right? Because we added a bunch of guys this offseason, a bunch of position players, mind you. And if we go add them in, and you have a guy like Alex Bregman locking down third base bag, maybe he's here for a few years, or Santander in left field. Well, where's Joey Loperfido going to play? Where's Clase going to play? Right, so then you have all these opportunities where maybe we can move them around and make this team better in other areas.
I do agree with that right there. I want to address this very quickly, JK. Also, quickly for the 56 people watching, if you haven't already done so, hit the like, smash the subscribe button. We appreciate every single one of you. JK just saying, should David Schneider be on the team next year? And that is a good question. That's a very contentious topic right there. David Schneider, obviously at this point, getting very limited playing time, and I mean it is deservingly so. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it here, folks. David Schneider has just not been playing some very good baseball at this point, right?
No.
He is not the David Schneider of last year. And at this point, now being a day or two away from September, we can say that this is a bad season for Schneider.
Yeah.
The guy is batting below 200. He's got a 196 batting average. The OPS is down at 630. These are numbers that get you demoted to AAA. These are not, okay, you play every day type numbers. At the very best case scenario for David Schneider, this is a bench bat. But even that, it's like, you can't really be batting below 200, dude, So I think David Schneider's situation is a tough one because we know that he's capable. We have seen him produce at an extremely high level. But you also got to start factoring in what type of prospect pedigree did he have when he came up to the show. It really wasn't that high. This was kind of just a guy in our system who caught some magic in a bottle. And now it is going to be up to him because he's at that turning point. Next spring training, I would argue, is critical for David Schneider and the future of his MLB career.
If he doesn't get set down in September, which they may not just because the rosters are expanding. Honestly, it all depends on Bo Bichette coming back. Like if Bo Bichette comes back and they also want to bring up, let's say, a Clase, for example, then he might be a guy to go down, or Stuart Burrell. Who knows what it might be. But let's say he finishes out the year with the Blue Jays. March is going to be a very crucial month for him. He may not start with the team next year. Just looking at the 26-man roster, I mean, there's literally a lot of guys, unfortunately, I'd rather have on the team. And if we are going to have that offseason that's going to bring in some key pieces, let's say we go bring in 2 position players over to Toronto Blue Jays. Well, you got to start cutting some guys. Are you going to get rid of Leo Jimenez? Will Wagner could be on the chopping block. And realistically, David Schneider could be going right now. Stuart Burrell probably going. So he's in that mix right now. So if you want to go and make yourself a guy next year, David Schneider, man, this offseason is going to be absolutely crucial.
He's going to have an incredible offseason, and, the leash is short, right? It really is.
It's really short.
Can you pop off in the 3 weeks that we're giving you in spring training? Can you prove to us that you are still deserving of a spot? And then even if you can, he's kind of in an Ernie Clement situation almost from last year or this, past spring training, right? Where it's like if you slow down for a moment, you're done. And Ernie Clement has done an incredible job, under that immense amount of pressure. Has done, just enough and then some to, maintain his spot on the major league roster. And now at this point, I think we can all agree he'll probably be with the team again in 2025. So Dave Schneider walking into next year, he's going to be in a similar boat where it's like if you're not putting up consistently, it's kind of game over.
It is unfortunate, but that is the reality. I mean, at the end of the day, let's all be honest. We all love David Schneider, but we want a winning team. And, honestly, for Davis's development, if he's not on the Toronto Blue Jays next year, that might be good for him. Go look. You're still young, kid.
Right.
Go work on some things. Come back when you're feeling confident.
Yeah, again, I really hope that he does the right work this offseason and takes the time to prioritize, his improvement and everything, because I don't want, you don't want his career to be over in 2 seasons, right? That would be a really shitty place to be after watching the magic that we saw last August. Let's move on and talk a little bit about Joey Loperfido right here. He got a little injured, a little banged up yesterday. Just smacked the head up against the wall.
Good catch.
Yeah, good
Way
catch.
to stay with it.
Good catch. But kind of would have hurt. You know that I feel like when you smack your head at the back of your head, like it always hurts a lot more because it's like you're almost like
you're not even expecting it type of thing.
Whereas like if it's the front of your head, at least you know it's coming and you can kind of like brace for it. So again, I'm sure it actually did hurt quite a bit. They're running a couple tests on him, hoping that he's not concussed or anything like that. I assume that he should be fine. Like he left yesterday's game, but I mean, it didn't look like so much of a bang that like he'd be out for a while. So
no, and I really do hope not, because he was again, if we're checking in on audition season, he was the guy doing a good job auditioning. In the last 15 days, 279 average, 892 OPS. That's what I like to see. He's got a lot of swing and miss and holes in his game. I'll be honest. I've been watching him. Just a ton of hard swings. It's like him and Barger are the same, man. They got hard lefty swings, but if it's working, work, but you gotta, I'm scared he's gonna find himself in a hole where they'll find the exploiting part in his swing and just continue to pound it, and he just can't make that adjustment because he swings so hard in one plane. I'm talking about the up and in fastball. I haven't really seen him hit an up and in fastball yet, so we'll see if it continues, but keep on working at it, Joey. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if this is proper sports analysis. You guys let me know in the comments. But, there is something to be said for, and this is kind of across the board, right? Like, it's like a feeling when somebody makes something look effortless, right? Like when it's an effortless swing, or, for those football fans out there, when you're watching like Patrick Mahomes do some ridiculous shit and it just looks like nothing, or, when you're watching a Scotty Scheffler, like in the swing, it's completely effortless. Whereas when you're watching some of the guys where it looks like they're trying so hard, that often doesn't, work for a long period of time.
Right.
I could be completely talking about ass here, but
you could absolutely get your swings off. Absolutely get your swings off. I mean, how is Vladdy when he's locked in? Obviously, Vladdy's a different talent, of course, but when he's locked in, his swings are effortless. He's letting the power do all the work for him. But look, you got to understand who you are, and you got to do your homework as well. I actually loved pregame yesterday. They were talking about how the rookie Blue Jays had to do almost like a book report on like the upcoming pitcher, and say, hey, for example, I'm Will Wagner. I'm facing Cutter Crawford tonight. Cutter Crawford throws XYZ. I like XYZ. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack him here. So if you do your homework, you shouldn't have to force the ball. Oh, there's the pitch. There it is. Contact. If you focus on barreling up a pitch, these are major league pitchers that throw 90 plus, 100 sometimes. You are a batter that has 80 to 90 mile per hour bat speed. You put that in a great position and make contact with the barrel, it's going to do the work. You shouldn't have to try any harder as long as you do your research.
Yeah, couldn't agree more right there, man. I do want to take a quick moment here and just do a little bit of a glazing, I guess, for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., everybody. I mean, like, we continue to talk about him, and as does the Toronto sports media, just because, like, it is special right now. I was looking today at the pre and the post All-Star break numbers for everybody in MLB, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is second in effectively everything. Really, it's like there's Aaron Judge, and then there is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. since the All-Star break and since cutting his hair. So like we're talking about a very, very special player right now doing something phenomenal. There are the numbers right there, batting .415. That, I think, leads all of baseball.
I think so. Yeah, oh yeah. God,
so number one in batting average, right up there. I think second in on base percentage. Second in slugging, and then second in OPS right there, just trailing behind Aaron Judge. So, like, I know that Guerrero, when he says that stuff about I'm the best player in the world and whatever, like you're kind of like like that, we like to see the confidence, but he's actually not that far off. He is very close right now to being the best hitter in baseball. It just so happens that Aaron Judge is fucking Aaron Judge. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr., what you're seeing right now, in my opinion, is 100% worthy of whatever extension he is going to get.
And you can obviously, I can say this with a fact, this stretch is the best stretch we've ever seen from Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s entire MLB career.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, right? Better than the 2021 MVP year. And damn, Vladdy's going to get some MVP votes. Down there.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a top 5 or anything, but he's going to be a top 10.
He'll get some, man.
I think he'll be a top 10 MVP vote kind of player.
Well, and at this rate, too, like if those numbers being as ridiculous as they are, if he finishes the season doing that, I think the slash line might look better than it did
could.
in 2021.
Absolutely. I mean, like, where is he at right now? Obviously, we're big OPS guys, as you
He's
know.
at a 956, 956. Yeah, 956.
The batting average, I believe, is higher.
Yeah.
On base is around the same. Slugging is around the same. And yeah, it's just the OPS that's a little bit different. Man, there's not really much to say here.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, again, like if he keeps doing what he's doing, you could make a strong argument that he is going to have a better year than 2021, or he will have a better year than 2021. Yeah. So this is perfect for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and his agent because, as I'm sure many of you are aware, free agent after next season. We've said it time and time again, as has Sportsnet, as has effectively everybody, but it's this offseason or it is bust, because the second that spring training rolls around, if you don't have that extension in place already, you have lost all leverage as the Toronto Blue Jays. You've lost all leverage. If he's walking into spring training and feeling just as good as this year, I might just say fuck it. If I'm him, I might just say fuck it. You know?
Like, well, fuck it, because like I know I'm going to get a great deal. If he genuinely wants to play for Toronto, which I think it'd be kind of crazy of us to not believe he doesn't want to play here.
He does.
Obviously, he wants to play here. So if he genuinely wants to play here, I think he would just use the offseason as leverage. I could see him doing something like Aaron Judge did, where he did want to play for New York, but he just used the offseason as leverage and got a little bit more money, and he flirted with San Francisco. If Vladdy does it, I'm going to be scared shitless.
Yeah.
But Ross has got to come up with the money, or whoever it is going to be behind the wheel.
You have to, right? Like, it's one of those things where you need to get this done. And, like, you think about, it would just be such a gross mismanagement of the situation to not get this done,
You
right?
can't let it happen.
No, if you actually let that happen, like, that's got to be game over, I think, for you if you're Rossack. That's 100% nail in the coffin. You're done. Walk away. Like, we hate you now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm already there, but that would be like, I literally have now a dartboard on my wall with your face. And
yeah, like you are, in my opinion, like a war criminal. You need to be put in jail for the rest of your life type thing.
Yeah, and for honestly, this is a quick little side note. Everyone in here knows Dan Schulman, Sportsnet broadcaster. When a Sportsnet broadcaster comes out and speaks about how not great the GM has been, then you know it's bad. And this is a little article right here. He actually did say it. He's not as negative as some other haters, but obviously overall it's not great. Just commenting on Ross Atkins trading away, fan favorites, Teoscar, Lourdes, and not doing anything to replace them is obviously not great. So just wanted to throw that out there. You're not alone. Sportsnet also feels the same way.
Yeah, and again, like we know a couple people who know a couple people, and without naming any names, like the vibes in the building among the people who have some sort of influence or even bring you your daily Toronto Blue Jays content might not be feeling too positive about Ross Atkins either. So, folks, you are not alone in that at all, and I can assure you, you wouldn't be alone with that if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. somehow managed to hit free agency.
You can't let a generational talent like that leave.
No, obviously not. Let's talk a little bit now at the team as a whole. Before we get to the next series, folks, Toronto Blue Jays, ever since August rolled around, this has by far been the best month for this baseball team.
Yeah.
We are 15-11. Just to put that in perspective, if we were 15-11, how many months are there in baseball? 6?
6 months. We have a .577 winning percentage. 90 wins.
Yeah.
90 wins.
So it's like we're on a good pace right now. Like if you did this every single month, you got 15 wins every month for 6 months, you get 90 wins. And that is with a team where we have Will Wagner and Joey Loperfido and Dalton Varsho batting 2. It's this is not supposed to be a good baseball team, and yet here we are, 15-11, leading the American League East in this month.
Hey, what's been the issue for us leading up to this point? It's been offense, right? Think about the first 2 to 3 months. It was offense. Where's our offense? And then we had the pitching fall off a bit, but the pitching's always going to do that at some point. Now the pitching's coming back around, and you're starting to see now with a good offense like the Will Wagners and the Joey Loperfidos and the guys who beginning of the season weren't major league players and now are. You're starting to see some positive signs. So again, let's see how the season finishes, because based on how the season finishes, and we got to look at what our strengths are and how we got those wins, we can now make the necessary adjustments and free agent additions or trades in the offseason. But overall, guys, we'd be first in the American League if the season started August 1st.
Yeah, which is just a wild thing to say. So I'm sorry, everybody. We might not be getting Ethan Holiday, but the alternative or the opposite is happening right now, where we are starting to see some good signs. Now, before you go away, I do see somebody in here asking about playoff odds. We'll get to that in a second. However, I just want to throw out, holy shit. National League West. That is a battle and a half. You got that's actually insane.
That's
you got
good baseball right
legitimately
there.
The Diamondbacks, the Dodgers, and the Padres all up there with some incredible winning percentages.
But even that all Central, the Cubs, Brewers are starting to cook a little bit right now.
Yeah, something's going down in the National League right now, everybody, because that is a battle right there. We're going to be covering that on our other channel, Bad for Baseball, folks. I honestly wish that we could talk about it more on this one because that is just some fun, exciting baseball that's going on right there with the Padres, Dodgers, Diamondbacks. Everyone is competing for either the division win or that final wild card spot or everything. So exciting stuff.
Exciting. Honestly, I wish I was in the West Coast, or at least I would stay up to watch. I always get tired around 10 o'clock.
I know that's the thing. I kind of miss out on a lot of those baseball games because they do start so late for us, and this is after we've already watched the Toronto Blue Jays game. So it's am I really going to watch 6 to 7 hours of baseball every night? Probably not. But again, very exciting over there if you just so happen to be a Dodgers or Diamondbacks or Padres enjoyer.
Hey, we'll watch the postseason, though.
We will. We will watch the postseason. Speaking of playoff odds for your Toronto Blue Jays, they're still not great. They're at 0.2%, everybody.
It literally went down as I opened this up an hour ago, this tab. It literally went down from 0.3 to 0.2.
Okay. Well, that's not,
I don't know how we lost.
A great sign.
How do we lose? No one's playing right now.
Joey Loperfido got concussed. Everybody got worried. That's 0.1% right there. No, seriously. I mean, everybody, it's been at 0.2% now. We're around that mark for effectively a month at this point. It would take a miracle, literally a miracle. We'd have to win probably 95% of the games remaining at this point to even have a chance.
We have 70 losses, so 72 would mean we win 90 games, so we literally can't lose.
Yeah, we're talking 95% of the games moving forward, we win. It is not going to happen. I can say that. I would, if I had to. I would never want to bet my life on anything.
I'd bet my life.
But I would obviously bet my life on the fact that we are not going to make playoffs. That being said, though, if this Toronto Blue Jays team, we have a record, 66 and 70?
66 and 70.
66 and 70. If this Toronto Blue Jays team can finish at 500 or a game or two above 500,
oh yeah.
I mean,
we're already there, so above. So
we're not. What I mean, to finish.
Oh, to finish the season.
To finish the season. Yes. If you finish that season 82 and 80 or something like that's actually a realistic thing that could happen with the way that they're playing right now. Because you're at 66 and 70 right now. To go 82 and 80, you can only lose 10 more games. You got to win. What is that? 14 of them?
Something like that.
16 of them. 16 and 10. You have to go 16 and 10. But that's kind of what we're doing right now. That's kind of what we're doing right now, right? So, I mean, it's possible. It is possible.
I would feel a lot better seeing 80 in the win column.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were fucking talking about how we might not make it to 69. I think we are going to make it to 69 at this point, or at least we better make it to 69. At this point, now I think the goal is, can we hit 80 wins? Can you be around that 500 mark? And then you can walk into the offseason. You can say to yourself, all right, sucked in the first half of the season, but we started to pick it up at the end there. There was some positive signs. Bowden Francis is the Cy Young. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the MVP. There are pieces to build around here.
Yeah, look, I mean, think about our line, what it was. It was 86 and a half wins. You remember? Everyone was kind of down on us. So if we got 82, for example, that's only 4 below.
Slightly under, right? Which is kind of the floor that we were talking about.
That's the floor.
At the beginning of the season.
Was 500.
We were around that, if we all hit the shit hits the fan, maybe we're around that 500 mark, that 81, 82, 80 wins, right?
And boom. And shit hit the fan.
Did hit the fan.
There you go.
Yeah, it's still hitting the fan every now and again. But all that being said, everybody, you still have some tough competition to get through.
Yeah, you do.
Minnesota Twins, this weekend. We're going to be live for tonight's game. It starts at 8:10, everybody. Exciting matchup with Kevin Gausman up against Pablo Lopez, two pretty solid pitchers who are not having the best years that they've ever had.
Not having the best, but lately they've been very good.
Right.
Very, very solid, and we're going to be in Minnesota. The Twins lineup is actually getting pretty cold right now. They are 18th in OPS in the last 15 days, whereas your Toronto Blue Jays, #1 still. So that's very exciting.
Number one? OPS?
or maybe it's home runs. Excuse me, it might be home runs.
Right.
I saw it when I clicked over, but we're definitely top 3, top 4. Like we're still up there.
Okay, yeah.
So with that being said, guys, like, what are you guys thinking? I mean, they're both popping off right now. Gausman, Lopez, little bit. If I'm not mistaken, is this the game 1 matchup rematch? Is this game 1? Was Pablo Lopez on the mound for game 1 and Gausman on the mound for game 1?
Well, we were sure that Gausman was. We know for sure that Gausman. It might have been Lopez.
I think it might have been Pablo Lopez. So, little bit of a revenge game for these Blue Jays. Where are you thinking, Nick?
Well, I mean, I like how we're playing baseball. I do. But let's also not forget, these are the Twins who are 72 and 61.
Mm-hmm.
They are actually playing for real implications right here with the postseason and the division and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to factor that in. And for whatever reason, the Twins play us hard. They play us hard, and they just seemingly have our number time and time and time again. I'm also seeing from Sophie in here. And let me tell you, everybody, Sophie is the biggest Kevin Gausman lover ever. So you know when she is coming out with the negative stats that they are true. And she's saying that, Gausman does get blown up kind of by the Twins. So this is all something to note right here where the Twins apparently like to hit off of Kevin Gausman, and we struggle against the Twins, and we're in Minnesota, and ultimately they are a better team than us. I am going to give them the W in this first matchup.
Okay, I am also going to go with the W for the Twins. I kind of changed my bet way because I'm like, oh, really? Gausman sucks against the Twins? In my mind, I thought he did good because, like, last wildcard game, I thought he was pretty good. But obviously, that was a year ago.
Well, yeah. Listen, I'm just going off of Sophie because I know that she's never down on Kevin Gausman.
I know she knows.
Yeah, we'll give it to the Twins in this first matchup, guys. Speaking of Betway, let's give them a shout-out.
Yeah.
Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway, everybody, for being absolutely phenomenal. It is the place to go if you have any interest at all in betting on the Blue Jays or the NFL, which starts in less than a week, everybody.
Ooh.
The excitement in this room, it is palpable, everybody.
My God.
I can tell you right now, we're going to be using Betway a lot to bet on that. But for tonight, everybody, where are we going right here?
Yeah, so I was kind of dancing back and forth, not going to lie. Because I knew that they both been so good lately. But Betway knew this. Good lines they put out there. I was looking at the total runs. It's 7.5. I am going to go with the little bit under. So 6 runs or 7 runs total is the max they can do in the game. It's because they've both been good.
Lopez and
Gausman, struggling Twins offense. Blue Jays got a challenge. Lots of rookies haven't seen them yet. I'm thinking under, and it's the underdog. So I'm going under.
I do like it a lot, man. Yeah, like it feels like both of those guys. Again, like these are established players. These aren't just nobodies. It's fucking Kevin Gausman and Pablo Lopez. Both of them are very, very good players. They seem to be finding their groove right now late in the season. So I do like this as well. I'm going to ride with that. 2 times your multiplier, so 2 times your money, everybody.
Hell yeah.
We're going to be live for tonight's game, so come watch with us, and let's see if they do, in fact, hit the under. Moving on to game 2 right here. Blue Jays up against Minnesota. You got La Maquina up against his former squad. Matthews on the bump here. Hasn't played that much. Has a 3 ERA, 13 Ks in that time frame. What are we thinking for this one, man? La Maquina had a pretty good start his last outing, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, he's been cooking. La Maquina doing very, very good. Looking like the vintage La Maquina that we know. The numbers are rounding out. This is a revenge game for La Maquina. Last time he pitched in Minnesota, you know what happened, guys? Pulled after 3 innings, lost the game. I'm thinking we get a little bit of a W. Inexperience from Matthews. I'm thinking La Maquina cooks a bit just with that dog mentality. He's been waiting for this moment. He's had this day circled on his calendar.
Oh, yeah. No. You know the second that he got pulled from that wild card start, he was thinking about this one. And I already see from Deport Schneider here saying that we are winning this if Schneider doesn't pull him. Good shout there because you always got to factor in the John Schneider effect, and you never know what's going to go on there. I'm also going to ride with the win here. Blue Jays so far splitting the series, but then you got this one. You got Yariel Rodriguez up against Bailey Ober. Now, folks, if you're just joining us right now, go, skip behind in the video. We kind of have this whole segment breaking down Yariel Rodriguez and what is going on with him recently. It's not very good, folks. He's just not been playing some very good baseball. Now, occasionally he'll have this good outing,
Occasionally,
but
yeah.
it's, you know, it's kind of sprinkled between a bunch of like, oh shit, we gave up 4 or 5 earned runs here.
Yeah, that was like almost a month ago since he had his last good outing, folks. Like literally August 10th, and then ever since 4 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 6 earned runs. I'm not trusting what I'm seeing.
So 7 earned runs.
Yeah, 7 earned
outing?
runs. Is this what's going to be? So I'm not really trusting I'm not trusting Yariel right now. Bailey Ober is actually a very efficient pitcher.
Yeah,
You know, Trevor Plouffe talks him up endlessly. And we're in Minnesota. I think we're going to lose this one to those AL Central Twins.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to them as well, everybody. I know that the offense is looking good, and we are winning a lot more games than we used to. But it just feels like when you're on the road, you're in Minnesota. Like that's a tough team that seemingly always has our number. Yeah. They have just ultimately a couple better pitchers going than we do, and I can't really trust Yariel Rodriguez. The only player that I can really trust time and time again on our roster is Guerrero, but. Can he do it all and win a series by himself?
Yeah,
that's really tough.
Kind of tough right there. I mean, the guys have been cooking a little bit, but again, you're in a new city. These are all new experiences for these guys. They haven't been in Minnesota yet, a lot of these guys. And, you know, they haven't seen Lopez. So, yeah, we got to see what we got. We don't know until we see it. Maybe they popped that off. We're like, oh, shoot. Like, maybe they really like their stuff. Better matchup that way. But we got to see it happen.
Also, before we sign off, Sophie's saying, can we start Gaudreau instead? Honestly, everybody, we haven't even talked about him.
He's actually cooking.
Gaudreau is doing pretty good right now.
He's doing great.
Gaudreau is, like we were talking kind of about that Ross Stripling role. It almost feels like, you know, Ryan Yarbrough is filling in for that. I think he's a free agent after this.
I'd be interested in getting him on for like another year.
Legit. Yeah, like 100%, man. I did not expect myself to feel that way, but we need somebody like that. We need that guy that can just kind of come in. Like maybe we make Yariel Rodriguez that player if we go out and we sign another starter, but I do like what Ryan Yarbrough's doing.
Well, you know what? I brought this up before, and I'm on this train because getting 4 bullpen guys that give you 1 inning of quality relief, like that's going to be really tough to do in one offseason. I'm kind of on the board like, what if we get like 3 long men, 3 or 4 long men in the bullpen, and then have 4 quality guys? You can do that a lot more than the other alternative of getting like a bunch of small 1 inning dudes. It's a strat, right?
Play some Tampa Bay Rays baseball.
Play some Tampa Bay Rays baseball, and it's worked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it has worked, everybody. Let us know what you think in the comments down below about everything that we talked about today, folks. We will be live for the game later this evening at 8 o'clock. A video coming out tomorrow, and then another live stream not on Sunday, actually. We'll do later. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, guys.
Everybody. Y'all are the best, though. We appreciate you. Thanks so much for watching, folks. And as always, go Jays, go!